Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the NFL and how this week shaped the playoff picture for the NFL. And then I'm going to be talking about why college football is just in a bad spot right now with the committee and why I think it's necessary for them to expand to 16 teams. So starting out with the NFL, we saw games of the week, in my opinion, were Bears-Packers, bear down, Bengals versus Bills, and then Thursday night we had Cowboys and Lions. Starting off with the Thursday night game, it was really a test of if the Lions were for real or if they're going to fold. I mean, I think Amon-Ra St. Brown playing with a bummed ankle really set the tone for, this is a serious team that's trying to make the playoffs and make a push. Dallas, on the other hand, they always take 2 steps forward and then 3 steps back. It goes to show you George Pickens is just as unserious as they come when it comes to actually wanting to be a number one receiver, right? You have guys that just don't take the game seriously. Someone who's as talented as he is, probably the most talented receiver in the league, arguably. And then Dak, who's the ultimate professional. This game came down to a couple of plays in the second half. Dak just, without CeeDee Lamb, was trying to do everything he could, but when you don't have a guy out there playing, it just doesn't make any sense. And then Jahmyr Gibbs is the X factor for this Lions team. I think that they can make a run. I just don't think that they've proven they can win on the road. That's the only thing. Like, if they can play a team that is in a warm weather climate, whether that be a Tampa Bay team or Carolina, I think that they can win. I just don't think that they have the ability to go on the road and do it because they can't sustain grinding out the clock through the run game. That was my biggest takeaway. But I think the Lions are for real. NFC North is a gauntlet so far. And then moving on to the Bears-Packers. As a Bears fan, you really hope that you're going to finally get over the hump and beat Green Bay. For me, it was personally just tough to watch Caleb struggle like that in the first half after he's been so good the last couple weeks, and Jordan Love was just dealing and dealing. But Josh Jacobs, I think he is underrated as a back. He doesn't get the credit because of the other running backs like Bijan, Saquon, CMC, but he is legit. But Caleb, honestly, he surprised me in the second half because I thought he was going to fold and it was going to get messy and ugly. But he did show me that he is resilient, kind of what he's been showing all season. But now with, a real good team being able to come back and tie the game, showed me that Ben Johnson and him are actually better pair than what people had believed. So I don't know. I think that it's something to keep your eye on as we get down the stretch. The Bears could still win the division, but I think it's more likely we're going to be at a wild card perspective, just given the fact that we have some banged up guys on defense, and then we do have to play Lions, Packers, San Fran, and the Browns. Don't sleep on the Browns. Shedeur. But I think that that's something that we can discuss later on. But the Bears-Packers game of the week, 2 teams that could see each other not only in 2 weeks but in the playoffs. So I like the way that we looked there. And then Ben Johnson calling some good plays. We just didn't execute on the last one. Shake my head. But going on to the last game, Bills and Bengals, right? The Bengals were trying to make one of their consistent year-over-year pushes to the playoffs with coming off an injury from Burrow. And then the Bills were trying to rebound, right? Josh Allen is arguably, as a fantasy owner of him, the best in the league. Like, there's no one else that is him. You know what I mean? Like, in the snow, doesn't matter. Running backs are fumbling. Like, has no serious receivers. Keon Coleman's a joke. Shakir, it just doesn't have anyone, and he just does it himself. I mean, he did get lucky that Joe Burrow made some dumb decisions, unlike Joe Burrow. I mean, we give him the benefit of the doubt because that was, I think, his first turnovers of the year. So it's like he's not going to make that again, probably ever the rest of the year. But, I mean, I think the Bills are for real. If you look at the top of the standings, you have the Patriots, the Broncos, the Jags. Like, who would ever thought that would be where we're at today? I mean, that's like a 2015 Brady, Peyton type standings, but with nowhere near the caliber of quarterbacks or the experience. But I think that the Bills are my favorite to come out of the AFC in such a tight-knit division, or a conference, I should say. But yeah, no, I think that the Bills, if they can get a wild card spot, if they go to, call it, New England or Denver, I think that they win easily. Not a doubt in my mind. With no Mahomes, no Lamar, like those are two clear paths, and I think that the Chargers may sneak in there as the other team. And then we also, getting into the college football playoff, we have that settled. And honestly, I thought Indiana was a fraud heading into the weekend. I didn't believe that they were going to be able to go toe-to-toe with Ohio State, a team that's won 16 straight national champions. But, like, who do you think could beat them other than, say, a Georgia or a Bama? I thought it was going to be coming out of the SEC. But Fernando Mendoza showed me something I haven't seen all year, is someone who can dice up this Ohio State defense, right? Like, no team has been able to do that. And Julian Sain just looked out of sync all night. No Jeremiah Smith targets, no Carnell Tate. But Fernando Mendoza in that defense, really, they could win the national championship. I knew when they beat Oregon that they were for real, but I thought that was a fluke, that Oregon wasn't really taking them serious. I mean, it's Indiana football at the end of the day. Who takes them serious? Like, nobody. So it really shows how slept they are on. And, that's why they're the number one team. So I think that they're going to be at least in the semis heading in. And then Ohio State at 2, Georgia at 3. They thumped Bama. I thought this was going to knock Bama out, just given that they lost to Florida State. They lost to who else did they lose to? They also lost to another team. I'm blanking on me. I'll probably put it in the comments. But they had 2 losses, so now this is their third. I just don't think that they were deserving of it. Their best win was Georgia, but if you have 3 losses and if this was anyone else, they're not making the playoff. They're not even getting the benefit of the doubt. I mean, Alabama hasn't been good since Nick Saban left, and you're going to get them in? Like, come on. I think what really messed it up was having the Power 5 conference champions in, like JMU and Tulane. No disrespect, but those guys cannot touch the floor with any of these top teams. So I think that they're going to have to either expand it or just say you don't have to win your conference. I do think Notre Dame got the short end of the stick. They were supposed to be in the playoff, 110 straight. And it's like, I don't understand. They lost to Miami and Texas A&M by a combined 4 points. Like, if they had one play go their way, they're 11-1, they get in. I understand it's a small margin of error, but the committee had them way higher. Like, come on, be for real. And Miami, if they hadn't won the head-to-head, they probably would have been out too. My guess is they put them in only because they beat Notre Dame. I just don't think that their strength of schedule was that good to be able to have them in otherwise. So, I mean, those were kind of my biggest annoying things that I observed. I think Ole Miss is going to be weak without Lane Kiffin. But I mean, I think that they'll be able to survive. Oklahoma, I'm not mad about. I think that they did their thing all year. Happens where they lost a couple, but overall, I'm not too upset. It'll be interesting to see how Oregon can do as a lower seed, and Indiana holding that up too. A&M, I feel like they slid a little bit too much after losing to Texas. Like, Texas is a good team. A&M has some good wins, but I feel like they have a tougher road to get to the national championship than others. So, and then in college basketball, we had a lot of good games. I'm going to touch on Duke and Michigan State. We had Purdue getting thumped by Iowa State, and then, of course, the Muskies taking down UC. Duke is probably my favorite to win. Cameron Boozer is first-round pick. He's a man amongst boys at 18. Duke just keeps circling them in and out. But I really like the way that they went in. It's their third straight win at the Breslin Center. I think that they're poised to make a run, but I mean, it's all going to come down to if they can stay healthy with the guys that they got. And then also Iowa State, they've looked up and down so far. They lost to St. John's. They've had some other losses as well. I don't know what to make of it so early. Purdue was supposed to be, always have that high chip on their shoulder, but they can never seem to get it through. That's another thing that makes me mad about it is Purdue always just chokes. So, but yeah, let me know if you what you guys think. Like and subscribe, and then we'll be in touch later this week to go through my key top five rankings, and then we'll touch on some NBA and my frustrations with that. So, thanks.